what the standard American diet is today that's caused all the obesity and health crisis. You've got highly processed foods that are hyper palatable, that are really devoid of vitamins and minerals because they're all highly processed, and are usually lower in protein and high in carbs and fat. I mean, it's
Right.
the absolute perfect recipe for obesity. You have having low protein, low vitamins and minerals, and high carbs and fat. That is pretty much the recipe to gain weight. And that's you go to in America, if you take a look at the middle of the grocery store, that's a lot of what is in the store. And if you go to the outside of the store where all the meat and produce are, that's where you want to live. That's where you want to shop because those are the whole foods are always going to be better for you. And there's even, you know, each of those pieces, there's studies and information that show that, there's the protein leveraging hypothesis. It says your body, if it doesn't get enough protein, will keep driving you to eat more food until you get enough protein. So there's a hunger component there. There's also studies that have shown that if you don't get the vitamins and minerals your body needs, so your body's getting deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, that it'll drive hunger to get you to eat more so it gets the vitamins and minerals that it needs. So lots of hunger approaches there that are stimulated through that standard processed food diet that Americans are in. So where do you end up? Where should you be? Again, it really kind of comes back to energy demand and what keeps you on track with that, right? So if
Right.
you to maintain a body composition, if eating a certain amount of carbs and fat gets you there and you maintain it, great. Uh, you know, some people, especially the people with history of obesity that we work with, having lower carbohydrates and a little more fat and finding that balance where you're maintaining, that works better because it helps control their hunger and reduce the cravings for those sweet things and whatnot. A lot of this comes down to psychological. We've had several clients that I remember this one woman, she was going to just have one cupcake at this party. That was just going to have that one cupcake and it would be fine. A year later, she came back to us and said, I've gained back my 100 pounds I lost because that one cupcake turned into another and I just couldn't stop. And a year later, I gained all the weight back. And that's the part that, we try to deal with and controlling those cravings and that side of things by avoiding those sweet options that can trigger so much of that.
And what's the proportion of protein in keto diet? Like, where do you keep it?
Yeah. So yeah, we go by macros and grams because it fits your goal and individuality of the person, right? Doing percentages, it can vary so much based on how many calories you eat and all of those kind of things. But at the end of the day, what's the goal? The goal is maintain my muscle. So I need to eat enough protein to maintain the lean mass that I have. And so, a good metric for that is if you take in pounds, if you take your lean body mass, so that's your total weight minus your body fat percentage, and you multiply that by 0.8 to 1, 1.1, 1.2, somewhere, depending if you're like trying to be a bodybuilder or something, gain a lot of muscle. That's how many grams per day of protein you should consume. Another good sort of rule of thumb is if you start at like 5 foot tall females, and you start at like 80 to 90 grams of protein for 5 foot tall. And then each inch above that, you add 5 grams of protein. So if you're 5'4", that's another 20 on top of that. So you'd be 100, 110 grams of protein would be your protein goal. For a man, start at 100 grams at 5 foot, and then 5 grams per inch above that. So a 5'4" man would be 120 grams of protein is your minimum or protein goal for the day. Fats and carbs, again, yeah, we keep carbs low and then just adjust the fat based on the goals.
Right. And the last question from my side, Craig, is that you mentioned the standard American diet, it just wrecks
Yeah.
your metabolism. But why is it that when someone from America travels to Europe and consumes high carb stuff like pasta and pizza, etc., usually people don't feel the same negative effects? What do you think is going on?
I think there's a couple factors there. Number one, the society here in America is the total sedentary society. You go to cities and there's no sidewalks to walk on. Like you have to drive to the Walmart because there's no sidewalk, and it's not promoting that at all, any movement or whatnot. You go to Europe and guess what? Everybody walks everywhere, and that's so number one is from a weight standpoint. Yeah, people might not see any weight gain because you're walking so much more than you ever did back here in America, and so that's going to affect that. uh, I also think, I also know that there's a lot of chemical additives and ingredients that are banned in Europe that you can have in America. There's tons of these things that they put into food that are just not doing ourselves any benefits for health. In fact, they're hurting our health. And you could take it to the environment as well. We use so much more like pesticides and glyphosate here in America than anywhere else. That can get into your food products and everything. It's a pervasive problem, and so I think that is a big factor too. Is all the environmental and toxins and chemicals and additives that are allowed in food here versus other places is a problem for sure.
Right, Greg. So I think we are done with the questions. Any closing thoughts from your side?
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome, and especially for staying up late on your end. We're kind of on the other ends of the world here, but I appreciate your time.
We appreciate your time, and it's totally worth it. The insights we got from this session, amazing insights, Greg. So we really appreciate you taking some time coming here, and lovely
Thank you.
talking to
Yeah,
you.
and if anybody wants to find like our YouTube channel or any or social media or websites, just go to ketomaria.com. All of it's available there.